Hi, and welcome back to the DPAF. And I wanted to talk in this podcast about how you can profit and benefit from cancel culture. Cancel culture is definitely a stain on our society, and I really feel like it originated, certainly the first experience I had with it was with Glenn Hoddle, the England football manager, back in 1997, 98 kind of time, and he did an interview about a faith healer. He did an interview about disabled people, saying they must have sinned in another life. And Tony Blair really sort of ramped this up, saying Glenn Hoddle had to resign and it was sort of a disgrace and all this sort of stuff. And, cancel culture has kind of gone from something that just happened to famous people to now something that happens to pretty much all people. Anyone can be cancelled at any moment, and the cancellations are sort of more and more extreme. I've talked a lot about football fans getting lifetime bans, all sorts of sectors of society getting bans for life and all this sort of thing. And it just sort of creates an environment of paranoia and suspicion. And, a total state of fear. It was interesting that I saw Tony Blair on TV this year, and he was saying how he doesn't really understand cancel culture, which is pretty ironic considering he's sort of the main architect of it. I mean, during his premiership, he was constantly in 10 Downing Street with Alistair Campbell talking about how they could cancel various people or use the media to trash people, sully their reputations, defame their character, and accrue political advantage through the cancellation of people. I mean, Sherry Blair was involved, and it kind of created this era of political correctness in Britain. It was simultaneously happening in the United States. Maybe that's where they got the ideas from. But it's now come to a whole new level where people like you and I and, anyone we know can kind of be cancelled at any moment. It's particularly discriminatory against men. But, I'm sure a few women can be cancelled also. Men are the sort of the main targets of cancel culture, and usually people that are successful, people that have money. It facilitates a wealth transfer. And but what it does, I want to talk about the net loss, because the net loss is to society. We as a society invest in people, we invest in their training, and we spend a lot of capital and resources preparing people so they can be valuable members of society. People go to university, they go to school, they go to apprenticeships, they do all sorts of sacrificing to build up a level of expertise so that they can then contribute value to society. And then, of course, we as a cancel culture society, through the cultural Marxist culture, through the media, through social media, are all too willing to cancel these people at a moment's notice, get them fired from their jobs. And what this does is we as a society lose out on all that expertise. We as a society lose out on all that potential value. There's a huge opportunity cost of value. You think about a doctor, for example, goes to medical school, trains and trains and trains for years and years, and then, some tweet that he sent 20 years ago pops up, that could be presumed to be racist. He has to be fired. He never practices medicine again, and all that value is lost. And so what I want to say in this podcast is that if you're someone who has either been cancelled or is currently being cancelled or worries about being cancelled, this is something you can profit from. This is something you can benefit from. I mean, if you leave Great Britain and move to the country of Georgia, where I am, or other countries, they don't worry about cancel culture. They value quality people. They value talented people. They're happy to overlook some sort of mistake you might have made in a tweet or in a WhatsApp message 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're not worried about some accusation made against you. They're interested in your talents. They're interested in what value you can provide to them, to their society. And, you can pick up your life in no time elsewhere. You can also live a British life elsewhere. I'm doing it here in Georgia. I'm promoting Georgia through my company Lifeboat. You can check out the website lifeboatnow.com. You can get in touch with me and talk about moving to Georgia. But of course, there's lots of other countries around the world. It's easy to get visa-free access. In Georgia, you can do it for 12 months. It's easy to get residency permits. It's easy to get citizenship if you're a valued member of society. And you don't have to worry about the fact you were cancelled in Britain if you were given a lifetime ban for something. I mean, I was hearing that, the local rugby club in the town I grew up with, the ball boy had to be given a lifetime ban because some tweet that popped up when he was 9 years old, when he was talking about getting a pet monkey for his, we wanted one for Christmas, that was deemed to be racist, and he can no longer be part of the rugby club, and he's been banned for life. So this sort of phenomenon sweeping through society, Tony Blair doesn't understand it, even though he's the architect of it. But of course, the political leadership in our country, they love cancel culture. I mean, they're as big an advocates of it as anyone. They champion cancel culture. If you call up your MP right now and say you've just been cancelled, they're going to be thrilled. They love things like social media cancellations, social media censorship. If you tell your MP you've been shadow banned on YouTube or you've been banned on YouTube, they're not going to be saying, hey, that's terrible, I'm calling Silicon Valley first thing in the morning. No, they're going to be thrilled to hear it. They're going to blame you. They're going to say, well, you should have said something in a more friendly way or feminine way or nice way. The fact that you're exercising your right to free speech is not going to be of any interest to elected officials in our country. So that's the state of affairs on cancel culture. I want to make a positive message and say, you can profit elsewhere. Also, we as a society can also profit from people that have been cancelled. I mean, we can hire them. If you have someone that's been cancelled, you can give them a job, you can do business with them, you can give them opportunity, because you can usually hire them at a lower than market rate, because these cancel culture people, it's tough for them to get jobs. It's tough for them to get reacquainted back in society, but definitely you could give them a second chance. I'm a big believer in second chances, even though the British establishment are not. And I think there's a lot of opportunities. I think we could also find in the world going forward some locations, some enterprise zones full of cancelled people, talented people that are thriving, that are succeeding, because even though their talents weren't valued in Great Britain, they can certainly be valued elsewhere. I want to end on just talking about the police. The police are under the cosh in the media right now because of all this Wayne Couzens stuff. And, there's been stories about how there's still police officers out there that are, predatory people and have criminal records and all this sort of stuff. And, everyone in government is saying, well, we better look through, do a thorough review, thorough investigation of every single police officer, double check, triple check. We need to be checking their bank accounts. We need to be checking, their phone records. We need to be looking into every aspect of their lives to make sure they're not some threat to women. And Dominic Raab is out there saying, yeah, we really need to do all this. And I just want to point out, I have respect for the difficulty of the work that the police do. I'm a big believer in law and order. The police in Britain, as everyone knows, have been highly politicised over the last 10 years. And I feel like the police, the rank and file, have kind of done it to themselves. They were happy to sit by while Alison Saunders had her reign of terror in the CPS, and the police officers were manipulating evidence against innocent men to bump up conviction rates. They've also tolerated Cressida Dick, the total lunatic who's head of the Metropolitan Police, who's a total nut job. And, these kind of unqualified people in positions of high responsibility have been undermining British men. And now, with the help of the police, now this same phenomenon of cancel culture and cultural Marxism is coming for the police themselves. So I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but people need to see these threats, these discriminatory threats, ahead of time and head them off, rather than wait till they arrive at their front door. And I don't want to see any police officers mistreated. Obviously, with Cressida Dick in charge, you're only going to get dysfunction, and a lot of police are probably going to be cancelled themselves coming up. I don't think the government would be happy until we have an all-women police force. And there's been stories in the news about, there was one guy in Stevenage, some sort of Wayne Couzens colleague or in the same unit, that is being charged with some sort of sexual assault. He tried to get a barmaid to come to the police station as an intern. Offering women jobs is a surefire way to get you charged these days. And, on and on it goes. I'm sure the next phase of this sort of false accusation, feminist cancel culture phenomenon will be to target male politicians themselves. People like Dominic Raab that I mentioned, championing all this stuff. They'll be coming for him next. So you go from you neuter all the men of society through cancel culture, you neuter the male police, and then you go and neuter and cancel the male politicians. And maybe a few female politicians will be caught up in the mix, but it'll be mostly male. So I think this concept of cancel culture is going to run and run, and I think there's ways to profit from it. Like I just said earlier, and I want to summarize, feel free to contact me. I'm out here in Georgia. If you're worried about being cancelled or you've been cancelled already, there's a world of opportunity out here. This is a great place, very low cost of living. Proper country, stable society, there's not endless debt, there's no lockdown, and you can really do well here. The salaries are not massive, but the costs of living are fractional compared to Britain. And, I think is Eastern Europe as a whole, huge opportunity here. So check out my website, lifeboatnow.com. I hope you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Please feel free to make any comments below, and look forward to chatting with you here again soon. So thanks very much.